with Graham Lloyd is, we are where we are in the standings, and there's still a chance that we could try to re-sign him in the offseason. But the fact that where we are in the standings right now, the feeling was let's try to go get some kind of value for him here for the last 2 months of the season.
Jim also said the Mets may make another minor deal. Nothing major, though, is expected between now and the trade deadline. The Mets have gotten some great play from Joe McEwing lately. For more on that, upstairs we go to Ted Robinson and Fran Healy.
All right, Matty, thank you very much. It is indeed another day, another change for the Mets, and as some of the veteran players continue to wait out these closing days before the deadline, change has been good for some veteran players on the Mets, and McEwing is Exhibit A, Fran.
Joe McEwing, well, he's played a lot of positions, but the most important part for a player is how are you hitting? He's getting that front foot down in a hurry now and driving the ball. Hit a home run at the Vet last week, and he's playing solid defense lately at second base.
And there's what regular playing time will do. McEwing, the last 8 games, nearly a .400 batting average as the Mets' new everyday second baseman. Well, throw the Brewers record out the window if you're the Mets starting pitchers for this 4-game series, because if you're Jae-Young-So tonight in desperate need of a win, you have to look at 2 big bats you've got to deal with in the middle of that order.
Because you got to worry about the home run ball when Jeff Jenkins comes to the plate off the campus of the University of Southern California, has over 20 home runs already this season. Bats from the left side of the plate, as you can see, and from the right side, the big guy reminds a lot of people of Dave Kingman, Richie Sexson. With those home runs, they have an Achilles heel, and that's the strikeout.
And between the two of them, just shy of 50 homers, 150 runs batted in, but they do have those 200 strikeouts. But it's a very potent all-star combination in the middle of the Milwaukee batting order. And tonight, 2 starting pitchers in desperate need of a win. Jae-Young-So will have his rooting cast on hand at Shea with first pitch coming up.
Welcome back to Shea Stadium. The Mets getting ready for the first pitch tonight between themselves and the Milwaukee Brewers. It kicks off a 4-game set. Jae-So gets the call for the Mets this evening, and he got off to a great start, 5-2 this season, but since then he's hit a rough patch and he's looking to end that, and mostly what he's trying to end is a bad start to his games. In his last start against Montreal, roughed up in a game that he lost to the Spos last week. Vern Rule was talking to him during that game, and whatever he said worked, because in his next 4 innings, he was lights out. The Expos couldn't touch him, but at that point, the horses were out of the barn, and the Mets wound up losing the game, as did So. Now, you see what's happened is that first inning bugaboo, particularly in that game against Montreal when he gave up those 5 runs. He's done something like that in his last 5 starts, something the Mets want to see change, and we talked to Vern Rule about that.
Well, in Montreal, I asked him, I said, hey, forget what happened to that point and, go pitch with your heart and go out and play the game, because that's what you're about. There's all kinds of ways to address that. I mean, sometimes you'll have a starting pitcher go up and pitch his first inning in the bullpen, sit down, take a breather, and then get back up, and then you go out there and, finish warming up, and then say basically he's throwing a second or third inning when he goes out on the mound. So he's maybe getting used to the sit down, the wait before he goes back out as a starter in that first inning. So we were working on those things. We'll see what works.
The Mets would like to see those changes start tonight against the Milwaukee Brewers. It's So and Rusch, and we'll kick it off when we come back to Shea Stadium after this timeout.
This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of Sterling Mets may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Sterling Mets. And tonight's game is also available the Spanish language commentary from Juan Alicea and Billy Barreau by using the SAP function on your set or your remote. Juan and Billy. Mets on Espanol tonight. Start of a 4-game series. The Mets and the Brewers. It wasn't supposed to be, but this is a make-up game from a rainout when the Brewers were here in early June. And as a result, you don't see too many folks in the stands behind Jae-Young-So. The Brewer lineup tonight featuring a guy, Richie Sexson, who looks like he's right off the beach, doesn't it?
Down and out in Beverly Hills.
Stashed the surfboard outside, came in to play ball. Some hitter, Richie Sexson. Eric Young leads off Scott Podsednik, who's a terrific rookie, has taken over in center. He bats second as a catalyst. And Wes Helms, batting 6th in the order, has come through with a nice second half so far for the Brewers.
And Jae-So on the mound for the Mets, and he is not enjoying a losing streak currently. You see the opponent's batting .276 against him. He has 19 starts this year, 5-7 record. So Jay So against Glendon Rusch, and that'll be a battle of finesse pitchers. So the right-hander, Rusch the left-hander, and Roger Cedeno, a late change in the Met lineup. Duncan was scheduled to play center field. He got sick before the ball game. Daniel was inserted in right. Gonzalez, who was originally in right, moved to center field. You get Floyd left. You got Wigginton, Reyes, McEwing, and Phillips in the infield, along with Vance Wilson behind the plate. But Roger Cedeno got tapped on the shoulder about 10 minutes ago. They said, "You're in there." He said, "I don't know about the clouds."
How about that view? What a spectacular sky here in the early evening in New York City. The skies above Shea for the most part clear. And Eric Young, veteran, leads off against Jae-Young So. And of course, the big thing to watch here with So in the first inning is going to be lessons learned from Montreal, where he pitched 2 different ball games. He pitched a first inning that was batting practice, then he pitched 4 innings after that were superb. And that, see that little gun reading you saw there? That's the answer. He threw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, Fran.
We try to throw that baby on the corner. And as I mentioned, both Rusch and So finesse pitches, and they're going to work those corners.
The first inning in Montreal last week was just he bottomed out. He was throwing 84 with his fastball, and it was BP. Vern Rule went to the mound, talked to him in the dugout, talked to him, said, "Pitch with your heart."
And sometimes you go out there and you're concerned about the location of the ball as opposed to just letting it fly. So you pitch like you are afraid to lose rather than pitching like you're going to win. Vern Rule checking out the number of pitches already. Got to keep this guy off the bases.
Now, Jay So's found out right away that Bill Hahn's strike zone is not to his liking. There are a couple of real close pitches there, and already Vance Wilson is talking to Hahn. There are a couple of pitches Jay So thought were strikes.
How about this one? Jay So has still, this is prior to that last pitch, has never walked a batter to lead off an inning in his career in 123 innings.
Wow. You throw that stat out, huh?
Let me just blacken that one out.
It's over with. And here's Podsednik. Well, Podsednik has been to the Brewers this year what the Mets hope with more playing time Jeff Duncan will become. Kind of an unknown quantity. He's 27 years old, out of the Seattle farm system. Ned Yost and the Brewers claimed him on waivers this winter. And Podsednik won a job in spring training as a backup. But the starting center fielder, Alex Sanchez, fell out of favor in Milwaukee, much really kind of the same way Cedeno has with the Mets. Sanchez gone, Podsednik in, and he has been one of the best rookie hitters in the league. That's fouled out of play.
Take a look at the keys to the game. And as you can see, don't let the big boys hurt you. That's the big boys with the Brewers. Jenkins and Sexson. Be aggressive with Glendon Rusch because he's around the plate, and let the Brewers get themselves out because they have struck out a whole lot this year. And there's Richie Sexson right there.
Leaves the changeup up, and one thing that again Jay So has done his first 2 hitters, Fran, is he's throwing the fastball like he means it.
And again, you know, you can go on that mound just like a hitter can go to the plate and swing the bat like he just wants to make contact. It's not like I'm going to get a hit. And it can happen to pitchers. You lose your aggressiveness. What you're trying to do is hit the target, and you're not concerned about letting the ball fly. Right now, Jay So has to let that thing go. As you mentioned in Montreal, 2 different speed guns up there. He's leaning.
Not going, and Podsednik goes around. So after the leadoff walk, Jay So comes back to strike out Podsednik.
Podsednik right there as he commits himself, ball tealing away. And he was hoping to just put that ball in play with 2 strikes, but it went all the way around on a bad ball.
So here's Jeff Jenkins, who was honored to be the last man in the National League All-Star team. He won the online voting to be the 30th man. Was it 30 or 32? I can't even remember.
Well, he made it.
You know what? 32. Thank you, Mike Santini. And Jenkins swings. But you know what? For Jenkins, it was a thrill because even though he didn't get in the game, he said it just to be around and be in that company was ecstatic. And he said he confirmed what every all-star player tells you. The first time you go, you have no idea you can humanly sign as many autographs as baseball makes you do. There's a pitch inside with the runner going, and a good throw by Wilson. Well, and Vance guns down Eric Young.
Last year, Eric Young, 31 stolen bases. Year before, 31. Year before that, over 50. And here's a good pitch to throw on. And Vance Wilson with that short, quick, hard throw to second base. And that's a gotcha.
That's pitchers. You know, talk about the double play game, pitcher's best friend. I think that throwing arm of the catcher might be a close second.
Very important.
And to the right side, McEwing, nicely done. So McEwing playing Jenkins toward that hole. Going into shallow right to field that grounder, and that first ever leadoff walk for Jayon So does not hurt. Glendon Rusch back at Shea. The lineup he'll face for the Mets tonight. Jose Reyes gets back to the leadoff spot with the left-hander on the mound. Cedeno second. Floyd back in the cleanup spot, and Wigginton hit Rusch well earlier this year and has pounded the Brewers this year.
Well, Glendon Rusch with a 5.18 career ERA is the third highest in Major League history with a minimum of 1,000 innings. How about that number? Two guys ahead of him, Jimmy Haynes and Brian Bohannon. And you're looking at his current numbers this year.
He would like to erase them. He just hit the delete button.
I know. Boy, oh boy.
And of course, Rusch struggled so much he was sent back to AAA for 3 starts as Reyes skies this one to right field. John Vanderwall puts it away.
Well, Reyes was penciled in to lead it off, and he's leading off tonight. He's looking at the defense for the Brewers. Sexson, Young, Clayton, and Helms in the infield. Jenkins, Podsednik, and Vanderwall in the outfield. Perez behind the plate. Rusch on the mound. You're looking at Helms over at third base. And we have underlined Helms for tonight's ball game defensively. 15 errors in 96 games this season.
Bill Hahn now. Not sure what situation is here. As Bill Hahn, the home plate umpire, came over to the Met dugout. Now he's talking to Glendon Rusch. And it might be about the batter's backdrop, perhaps.
Is it?
I don't know.
Once you put up the 50 games in Kiner's Corner on Fox Sports Net.
Well, actually, that's a wonderful thing, but precisely right. Once play starts, the backdrop, the advertisement is supposed to disappear.
In case you can't make it to all 162 games it reads, 50 games in Kiner's Corner on Fox Sports Net. There it is right
The batters are all aware now. They're all jostling. They want to be on the next corner. They all want to be on the next corner.
That's right.
But, of course, again, once play starts, that's supposed to go.
Hey, you know what? Before we forget, this Thursday, if we can get a shot of that sign one more time, this Thursday, you see this right here? Kiner's Corner.
There we go. Thursday.
Ralph will be here on Thursday afternoon this week, Kiner's Corner, in case you can't make it to all 162 games.
I don't know how Ralph can top the stories from Philadelphia last week, though. Think there's any chance he can top those?
No, just outstanding. Let's go. And we're hoping that Bob Uecker will be on the show. You know, Bob was telling me a story when he was on the show, Mr. Belvedere.
Well, I guess they're going to play on even with the advertising panel in place. Cedeno takes ball 1.
Bob had a stress heart attack while he was in Hollywood. He was in his house on a...
Cedeno robbed by Clayton. Rogers swung the bat well lately, and he smoked that ball, but Royce Clayton still quick of foot.
Outstanding play by Clayton, taking a base hit away from Roger Cedeno. Roger Cedeno is hitting the ball a lot harder lately, but will never win over the fans here in New York. I was talking about Bob Uecker. He said he had a stress heart attack, and when the fire department sent some guys to his house, he was sitting on the chair. He was sitting on the couch, and they told him, they said, Then when they walked in, they couldn't believe it. One of the firemen said, "Hey, it's the front row guy. He's having a stress heart attack." So he said, "Look, I don't want to go out on the stretcher." They said, "Legally, we can't take you out. You got to be on a stretcher." He said, "I'll make a deal with you." He said, "I'll go out on the stretcher, but I want the stretcher straight up and down." So they took him out to the ambulance like that.
Wheeled him out vertically.
Right. It's incredible.
Well, of course, Uke had a day in Cooperstown yesterday, along with Gary Carter and Eddie Murray, sports writer from Dayton, Ohio, Hal McCoy. And that ball caught by Eddie Perez, and so it puts a quick end to the first inning. Jason Phillips with the top batting average among National League rookies. Glendon Rusch gets him. So the first inning ends scoreless.
Hey kids, you'll not want to miss the Mets game on Saturday, August 2nd. It's Build-A-Bear Workshop Day. The first 12,000 kids 12 and under attending the 1:20 p.m. game against the Cardinals will receive an exclusive Shea Bear from Build-A-Bear Workshop. For your tickets, stop by Shea Stadium or Keyspan Park. Visit a Mets clubhouse shop. Log on to Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX.
Jae-Young So on the mound for the Mets tonight, trying to snap a winless month of July. And yesterday, of course, was such a notable day here for the broadcast booth at Shea. Murph and Ralph were honored with bobbleheads. So someone decided Murph's head was the one that really mattered.
That's right. Had to stay. Of course, the broadcast booth's on the 4th level, one named after Bob Murphy, the radio booth. And there's the Murph. Of course, our buddy Ralph Kiner comes over here every day and shines up the sign outside the television booth, which is the Ralph Kiner television booth.
Richie Sexson, 28 home runs and 78 batted in. Fouled back over our heads. Of course, Murph announcing his retirement yesterday, effective the end of the year. And tonight, a steady stream of people coming by the radio booth before the game to wish Murph well. That means Ralph, Pete Flynn, the groundskeeper, and Bob Mant are the last three standing in the 62 Mets. Line drive, base hit. Gonzalez racing to the gap and does a good job. He cuts that off and holds Sexson to a single.
Bob Mant, you see Bob every day here at Shea along with Pete Flynn. We work with Ralph as you look at Richie Sexson hit that bullet in the center field. Boy, Sexton's got a lot of juice in that bat. Look at this. Look at how strong this guy. Look at that. Great kind of head down, hips open, weight back, good balance. Boom. Drives the ball into left center field.
I mean, I know the hairdo's not the same, but I'm telling you, I watch him hit, and I can't help but think of Kingman.
Kingman, except for the average, I think that I would.
Well, right.
Yeah, Richie Sexton's average is a little bit higher than Dave Kingman's, but he would remind you a lot of Dave Kingman. He's 6'7". King was about 6'6".
Wiry,
strong,
but naturalist strength. Right.
Dave Kingman started lifting weights when he started to compete in the Superstars contest. That's when he first started lifting weights, but he was extremely strong before that. Richie Sexson is extremely strong, hits the ball like Dave Kingman. It'd be hard to find a guy hit the ball any further than Dave Kingman when he got all of it.
Change up inside corner, gets Vanderwall. So 3 pitches. Jae So strikes out his second batter.
On the corner, you see that ball tailing back over the plate.
You know, that's interesting, Frank, because the speed of that pitch indicates changeup, but the way it moves makes it look like the two-seamer that Vern Rule wants Jae-Young So to work on. So said he didn't throw any in Montreal last week, and Jason Phillips told me he did. Phillips said he threw about 3 or 4 of them to left-hand batters. That's the pitch that would start basically at the left-hand batter's hip and, if thrown properly, tail across the inside corner.
That's a problem when the pitcher says he didn't throw any and the catcher says he did. You know, that was a day game after a night game.
You say ball to Wes Helms, but you know, Jae-Young So very proud and had resisted the suggestion that he needed to add another pitch or two to his repertoire. Well, he came up with it in Montreal. He realized it and he threw it a couple of times. At least he tried it. Well, that was hit a mile. Hooking and foul. Wow. Into the mezzanine.
Wes Helms just hit a bullet, but foul. He got all of it, and he hooked it.
Helms been swinging the bat much better lately. The Brewers stayed with him after a shaky start at third base, and he's starting to reward them. Last 40 games hit 293.
There's some good ball movement right there. 79 miles an hour, but real good ball movement. Of course, the key to that pitching is, you know, throw the ball in the strike zone, but get that good ball movement, unless you can throw it 100 miles an hour. But he's not throwing the ball very hard there either. That was 82 miles an hour.
Eddie Perez on deck.
This is a comfortable night for hitters when they face Jay So and Glendon Rusch.
Wow, I'll tell you, Bill Hahn's strike zone, that's just, Jay So has every right to be upset.
He gets so mad he won't bottle him anymore.
And I'm not sure where that misses.
Number 12, Eddie Perez.
And you have to again ask
Look at
yourself,
Helms.
is this Quest? Yeah, Helms thought it was a strike, but is this the Questek influence? Is he calling a different game here because he feels that the machine is influencing?
Possibly, because they are being examined like everybody else. But you know, I never understood why an umpire would have his own strike zone to begin with. There's a diagram in the rule book. You're supposed to enforce the rules if you're the umpire.
Right.
And that's the diagram.
You sound like my friend Sandy Alderson. That was exactly his point.
It's simple.
Right. And the concept is right.
Let me ask you
The
this.
the only problem is that human beings are the ones that doing it.
Yeah, but they're saying I'm going to have my own strike zone.
Well, umpires didn't say that. That's what evolved over time.
But that's what they said.
There's a foul hit by Eddie Perez. Oh, you heard umpires say that? Umpires would tell you that's
they
my
said it to themselves.
Okay.
This is my strike zone. And they took pride in it. Or if they didn't, they'd have called the balls and strikes according to the diagram in the rule book. You concur?
I concur partly.
Okay, that's good enough.
No, here's a ball hit. That's what So needs. Double play ball from a catcher. 5-4-3. That gets Jae-Young So out of a jam here in the second inning. One hop shot right to Wigginton. And we're scoreless with the Mets coming up bottom of the second. So here's Cliff Floyd, and he takes a strike from Rusch to start the bottom of the second. Cliff with his 17th home run of the season over the weekend against Cincinnati. And it's 1-1, and the Reds came in here, beat the Mets 2 out of 3, and then fired their general manager and their manager today. That is not something you see often in baseball. Both going. Jim Bowden, who's been a long-running GM, and Bob Boone.
Bob Boone, hey, he stayed overnight. Bob Boone replaced Jack McKeon in Cincinnati as manager. Of course, Jack McKeon now down in Florida, having a good time.
And actually, 2 former Mets also got fired today. Tim Foley, coach for the Reds, fired, and Tom Robson, who Bob Boone had brought in as a hitting coach, got axed. Cliff Floyd chasing the high fastball, and Rusch gets him.
Well, we talk about Glendon Rusch is a finesse pitcher. When you get it up there with a little bit of mustard on it, it's tough to catch up with it when it's eye high. And that was timed, at least by the gun here at Shea, at 90 miles an hour.
Strike to Wigginton. So Rusch pitching to guys that hit him. Floyd hit a home run off him in the game in Milwaukee that his teams played back in May. Wigginton had 2 hits against Rusch. And Wigginton out to center field. Podsednik. And that's out number 2.
Ty Wigginton looks just a little bit off with his timing. Take a look at this swing right here. He makes contact a little bit out in front. If he waits longer, he hits that ball harder. Easy play for Podsednik out there in center field. But for a little while now, it looks like Ty Wigginton's just not waiting on the ball. When you're in a slump, you're not waiting on certain pitches. Other pitches, you're late on fastballs. And nobody has yet figured out how easy or how difficult it can be to come out of a slump and rationalize it.
65 straight starts for Wigginton until Jay Bell got the nod at third base yesterday.
Wanted to give Ty Wigginton just a day off, and more so for your mind rather than your body.
Well, Rusch going at the Mets with that high fastball. Boy, he blew Gonzalez right out of there. So a good start for Glendon Rusch, 2 scoreless innings, matching Jae-Young So.
Tuesday and Wednesday mean the Mets are on MSG. Tomorrow, the action heats up again at Shea as New York's young guns battle Richie Sexson and the Brewers. Mets, Brewers, tomorrow night at 7 on MSG. Mets Tuesdays and Wednesdays are presented by Blimpie.
Third inning at Shea here on Fox Sports Net, a night where the players are going to have to provide a lot of the electricity. It's a makeup game, not on the original schedule. It's made up from a couple of rainouts back in June, and so as a result, it's family and friends night tonight. Well, that happens when you have a game that's not on a printed schedule. Royce Clayton adding a 2:05.
Now, you concurred with me on an issue a moment ago.
Oh, right, strike zone.
You concurred halfway.
I concur partly.
Well,
no,
I thought it was half.
I think. Well, yeah. I think the strike zone should be called to the written parameters. That's fine.
I agree. I don't think an umpire should have
2-1 here.
The option of having his own strike zone. It doesn't. There's no.
No, I
doesn't
agree
make
with
sense.
that. But my only point is that the introduction, once you start introducing machines and lasers and beams and all this stuff, once we introduce technology, to me, you open up a really disturbing can of worms. And if you're going to do that, then let's just do it. Get rid of the home plate umpire and just set up some laser beams and have balls and strikes called that way. If that's what you want, just do it. Get rid of the umpire.
Who are you going to blame if you get rid of the umpire? So 2 pitches back, Jay So threw the ball 92 miles an hour, so the arm is starting to get loose. There's 91, so he's turning it up, turning the dial up.
And you see, Franny, this to me is the next couple of starts for Jae-Young So. That loss in Montreal will be a win if he keeps pitching this way. And there, well, look at the movement. Look where that ball moved on him at 92.
Now we're talking about finesse pitches, but they're picking up the velocity.
Now New York Mets baseball brought to you in part by Compact Presario from HP and by Nissan and your Nissan dealer. So Glendon Rusch will stand in there.
Glendon Rusch last inning showed some pretty good velocity.
But let's watch this pitch again, Fran. Look at where this ball moved. Look where the target is, and gee.
Threw the ball with good velocity, and he ran it in on Clayton. So much so that he messed up his hair. Royce Clayton, he's been around. I remember the Giants had him, and they said that he was going to be an outstanding shortstop. You were there then, right?
And he was. And then St. Louis picked him up, and he was the man that succeeded Ozzie Smith. And been on a little bit of a baseball journey since. Rusch fouls it away. But you know, Frank, Clayton, by the way, is married to an Olympic sprinter from Great Britain, and he underwent last winter some different kind of workouts, track-related workouts. In great shape, just hasn't hit the way that he would expect to this year. So, but he is not happy tonight with this strike zone.
And usually he bows to the umpire. I'd give that up.
Wow. Well, he thought he had him struck out. Then Rusch thought he had a hit, and the ball found So's glove.
He's a good defensive pitcher. He said as soon as he releases the ball, this day and age, you better be ready because bang, this is a pitcher hitting a bullet back at a pitcher.
Boy, that's great reaction, isn't it?
93 miles per hour that last pitch, so he's picking up that velocity. Watch how he's ready.
See,
you got to be ready to field your position, and he is ready, and he grabs that ball. I guess the guy with probably the greatest fundamentals for any pitcher was you got to put Tom Seaver right at the top of the list. When he released the ball, he was ready to field his position. Jim Cott.
Well, he's got the record, Jim does. Gold gloves by a pitcher. Maddox may get there if he keeps playing. 1-1 to Young.
Jim Cott told me that he learned how to field his position watching the radio. He used to listen to baseball games. And when Bobby Shantz pitched, they said he took 2 hops after releasing the ball, and he was set to field his position, and he imitated it. Used to, I guess it was Gene Elston in Chicago that was the announcer. He used to describe Bobby Shantz. He released the ball, and with 2 hops, he was set to field his position.
Podsednik on deck. Well, I think the Braves, as you look at some youngsters, see on a night where there are not many here, those youngsters in their gloves, they got a chance to take home a souvenir. See, now, I don't blame Eric Young one bit. There have been 6 pitches better than that pitch called balls so far.
How about that? He pulled the string, 79-mile-per-hour changeup, and he got him, and Young's going to get tossed.
Well, I don't blame Eric Young, though. I mean, this strike zone is right now, it's a flip of the coin the first couple of innings.
There's a magic word you can say. Don't say it.
Flip the coin? First of 4 games here at Shea this week between the Mets and the Brewers. This is an odd series. The Mets playing 3 series this year against Milwaukee, the only National League team outside of the East that they do that against. Brewers lead 3 games to 2 so far. And it's 1-1 out of Vance Wilson.
Vance Wilson feeling some of the pains of catching every day. The first ailment will be your bat. It slows down. Then you hope for a day off that'll make you strong again.
We got 2 guys here tonight that had tough Julys at the plate. Vance and the Brewers shortstop Royce Clayton, both under 150 for the month.
How about the Brewers? They've had a losing record in each of the past 10 seasons. There's Royce Clayton, who Ted said was struggling, along with Vance Wilson. But 10 seasons with the losing record. You know, the problem is you talk about small market, you can't compete. After a while, the fans don't want to hear it.
And Wilson out on strikes. So Rusch got 3 strikeouts. The first 7 Mets. He's not pitching like a guy with a 7.2 ERA.
He's changing speeds right there. He gets Vance Wilson out in front. So right now, you're watching 2 young pitchers. One a left-hander, Glendon Rusch. You take a look at that pitch again. And the right-hander, Jay So. They are mixing up their pitches very well, setting the hitters up, changing speeds with good ball movement.
Rush's last start, he pitched 7 innings against Houston, gave up just 1 run and 4 hits, and struck out 9. So since coming back from the minor leagues, we're going to say better command. He's throwing 90, as you can see, with the fastball, but they also say using his breaking ball. He pitched a great game here at Shea last April, the first time he came back here since leaving the Mets. Ooh. 2-1 on the breaking ball.
They say at times the breaking ball, well, I'll tell you right now, that didn't go around the plate. That went over the plate. All right, Ted, where's that?
I'm saying this. I just don't know where. I don't think anybody right now really knows where the strike zone is.
See, you concurred half the time with me a few minutes ago. Where was that pitch?
That was a strike to
All
me.
right, I go along with it.
So it's 3-2. Mike Riley's the veteran in this group, the crew chief. Bill Hahn, Tim Timmons. Battle Creek, Michigan's Mike Riley and Chris Guccione. Did you see what? Now there was a great shot there. Did you see for a split second everybody paused? Pitcher, batter, and catcher, because no one knew what that pitch was going to be. Everybody pauses. Look at it. Joe's going, should I? Should I?
We saw it with Wes Helms. You know what? That's too close to take. But even that, the little skip, he was surprised it was called a ball. Wes Helms couldn't believe it when he was hitting.
That's a strike, so offering at it. But see, the other thing I think, Fran, and you obviously played through this, is to me, players see this the first few innings and adjust. Now, some games are generally, some games obviously, if it's a very erratic, inconsistent performance, you're going to get that sometimes over a long season. You can't. But generally, don't players adjust to what an umpire calls the first couple of innings?
Well, it's funny. In the dugout, you'll hear guys say, look, be aggressive. He's inconsistent. And they'll be talking about the home plate umpire.
And after a while, veterans all have a book on every umpire, right? They know.
Yeah, the book should be that rule book. We're going to
Well,
get
I
back to
understand,
that.
but I mean, guys would know. For example, Frank Pulley was a guy that would, I'm trying to remember now. Frank was a guy that would call, wouldn't he give you, he would be generous the first 5 innings, then narrow the zone as the game went along, if I'm remembering correctly.
And the hitters would have to remember it. And
Right, but everybody knew that.
Yeah, they would talk about it in the dugout.
You know, Frank Pulley was known as a swing the bat guy. He wanted the game to move along.
I've heard him
swing the bat.
I've heard umpires say it.
Yeah. Nice bunt on 2 strikes. And Jae-Young So advances McEwing.
Well, our Fox Sports Net cameras are tracking the next hitter tonight, Jose Reyes, who's become a very exciting player here at Shea Stadium. In his first at-bat, hit a ball that was about ankle high up into the air, and he fly it out to right field. So he's 0 for 1 in tonight's ball game. John Vanderwall, the right fielder with the Brewers, making that catch. But Jose Reyes is starting to get more comfortable with every at-bat as you look at Joe McEwing. Boy, that's the key. Confidence and being comfortable, because you'll relax. And the good players will tell you the only way you can play Major League Baseball or any baseball is relaxed. But that word confidence is the key.
Reyes, soft liner. He's trying to go to right field, but hit it to this first baseman Sexson, so the Mets unable to cash in on the first base runner they've had. And Rusch and So dueling zeros through 3. 4th inning at Shea. Scott Podsednik. Who? Scott Podsednik, that's who. A lot of people around baseball land starting to find out a little bit about this kid. He's put together one of the better rookie numbers of the year.
And we're going to track him tonight along with Jose Reyes, and he was after a bad ball that was running away, but as Ted mentioned, he was picked up in the draft, and you don't think teams gloat when they are able to draft a player away from an opposing team, and the player develops in their organization. And that's what the Brewers are hoping with Podsednik, who leads all National League rookies with 55 runs scored and 21 steals.
Podsednik is from Texas, and he bounced around. He'd been in the Texas Rangers system, the Florida Marlins system, and then Seattle. He actually had 26 at-bats with Seattle. And like we're seeing teams do with Jeff Duncan, came in on his hands and get him on the pop-up, 1 away.
There's the duck. The athletic trivia question: who was the last Mets rookie pitcher to make 20 starts in his debut season?
Let me ask you a question, Fran. You've been here all year doing this. Has that duck ever left anything behind him other than the question?
You know, you think about it when he goes across that screen.
Because, I mean, anybody that's... Here's a fly ball hit by Jenkins to Gonzalez. 2 down. Well, kids, you can be a part of the team by joining the Mets Fan Club for Kids, presented by the Sports Authority and in Newsday. To join, you can click on the fan club link at Mets.com and download your application.
Well, we are following in this ball game Jose Reyes, Scott Podsednik. Take a look at in the 2nd inning to Richie Sexson. There are the pitches. Now you're going to see the pitches. He's trying to set up Sexson. The first 2 are down with good movement, and then he gets it up and he fouls it back.
Oh, and that one's up, and that one is looking gone. And there it goes into the Brewer bullpen. Number 29 for Richie Sexson. And that is the story of this Brewer team. They got 2 guys right now that can hit your mistake.
And you saw the pitches prior to that swing right there. Sexson got some balls that were down low and running down low. Then he got a pitch above his belt, and what did he do? He put it in the Brewers bullpen in left field. Look at this swing. That's a Dave Kingman swing. But Richie Sexson has it in a home run.
Sexson has now equaled his total of last year. It was surprisingly off year from the 29. 2 years ago, he hit 45.
Look at this. Good swing. Look at it. Hips open, head down. And in the Hyundai keys to the game, it was keep the big boys in the park. Richie Sexson and Jeff Jenkins. And Sexson went out of the park.
I think I've seen Sexson before. It just struck me. Wasn't he in Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
That's it.
I thought so. 2-1 to Vanderwall.
Boy, that's a nice swing. That was a good shot by our center field camera.
Sexton's one of those guys because I just enjoy watching Kingman hit so much. I love watching this guy swing.
And you broadcast in Oakland when Kingman was playing it, right?
His last 2 years. And he shouldn't have quit. That ball's hit well, but Cliff should have room in the corner and makes the catch. It's a foul ball caught by Floyd, but the Brewers get on the board as Jay So touched up by Richie Sexson. 1-0 Milwaukee.
Hey kids, don't miss Mets Hot Wheels Day on Sunday, August 3rd, when the Mets battle the St. Louis Cardinals. Play Win the Innings all game long for your chance to win a Jeff Gordon Signature Edition Chevy Monte Carlo SS and other great Mets prizes from MasterCard and Chevrolet. For your tickets, call 718-507-TI.
Bottom of the 4th inning, Roger Cedeno takes a strike. Roger ripped a line drive, and Royce Clayton made a diving grab to take a hit from Roger in his first at-bat. And quickly Rusch ahead 0-2.
We're talking about Roger Cedeno, how he has been hitting the ball a whole lot better lately. The only thing is it's going to be tough to win back the New York Met fans for Roger Cedeno.
I think you're right.
Yeah, it's really going to be difficult.
Up the middle, and Eric Young, no chance. So the Mets have their first hit. Cedeno is aboard.
The first baseman.
All right, here. Let's see now. Let's see if the Aflac Duck makes it across again. Yes, he does.
Wait till duck season.
All right, let's find out who the last Mets rookie pitcher was to start 20 games. How about that? Yoshi. Jay So tonight making his 20th start.
Boy, when you think of this organization, as you look at Jay So over the years, even when I played against the Mets in the minor leagues, they had so much pitching and so many hard throws.
That's the point. Power pitching.
And Ted, I'm telling you, I faced a staff in Williamsport. As you look at Cliff Floyd, it was everybody threw the ball in the high 90s. If you went 1 for 12 in a 3-game series against Williamsport, you felt like you had a great series.
In the last, I don't know, half dozen years, probably the one power arm that the Mets have developed was a guy they traded, of course, was A.J. Burnett.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a Met product. Now, of course, last year they drafted Kazmir.
Well, he throws, I like him.
Right. There's Phillips with a drive into the gap. That's slicing away from both man. Oh, nicely caught by Podsednik. And Cedeno gets back.
Podsednik took an interesting route to that
Yes,
ball.
he did. I thought that was going to be Vanderwall's ball the way watching the outfielders go.
Number 30.
Podsednik looks like well, right there, that's the end result. He makes the grab, and that's all that matters. But he called Vanderwall, and Vanderwall stopped. Podsednik made the grab. Now, in his first at-bat, Cliff Floyd, pitchers try to set up hitters. I should say the pitcher and the catcher.
That's right.
There have been many meetings prior to the series. And the catcher and the pitcher talk. The pitching coach will talk. And then they have a game. They have a set program in the game. Here's what Rusch did to Cliff Floyd. First time, fastball away. Look at the target inside. Took a little bit off with good movement. Then threw him a breaking ball to set him up. But it was all about setting up the hitter. Ooh.
Soft liner should be 2 here. And the Brewers, no, Cliff got down that line and beat it out. Nicely done by Floyd.
Well, Cliff Floyd, when healthy, can fly.
Third baseman.
Right here, Young flips to Clayton, who goes to Sexson at first, but Floyd beats the throw. Be an interesting top of the batting order when Floyd is completely healthy, because the Mets can feature some real good speed. But the Mets, did the Mets catch a break there?
Yes, they did.
Here's the ball right here.
Cliff was out.
Here's Cliff's foot. Ooh.
I'm surprised there was no argument there either.
No.
So ball 1 to Wigginton, who flied to center his first time. The Mets right now being stymied a bit by Glendon Rusch.
Mixing up his pitches very well. He showed you how he set up Cliff Lloyd in his first at bat, and in his second at bat he jams him and gets him to hit the ball to second base.
Down the right field line out of play, and I mentioned earlier that Rusch had a terrific game here last year when he came back for the first time with the Brewers last April. He pitched 8 innings and gave up 1 run to the Mets, but lost 1-0 when then met Sean Estes threw a 1-hitter.
And right now I'm sure that Denny Weong is telling Ty Wigginton, wait as long as you can and be quick.
1-2.
We're talking about the speed that Floyd does have when he's healthy. Well, here he's not at first base pretty quickly, and he makes it a bang-bang play, and he got the call, but you know what? The ball's in the glove, and the foot is not on the base. But you got to take those things. You say thank you. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see Duncan, Reyes, Floyd, top 3 in your order. Some pretty good speed. Cliff Floyd told me that's one thing that frustrates him as we look at Raul Gonzalez is he likes to steal bases.
And that breaking ball, he just tapped it. And Young and Clayton get the force play, so we're through 4 innings at Shea. It's 1-0 Brewers.
The Mets wish everyone born on
Thursday on MSG. New York Giants football is just around the corner. And MSG is the place to be for all the latest team news and previews. Hear from Collins, Shockey, Strahan, and the rest of Big Blue on the Giants Training Camp Report. Thursday night only on MSG. New York sports teams. Talk. Opinions. News. Exclusives. With timely, opinionated, insightful coverage, MSG Network delivers 24/7, just like New York. MSG, the ultimate destination for New York sports fans. This is our town.
Ted Robinson, Fran Healy, Matt Loughlin with you and our Fox Sportsnet crew. Mike Santini, Bill Webb, Jim Gallagher, Charlie Cucciara, the Fordham Flash of this generation. Charlie looks like the Fordham Flash, doesn't he?
Charlie does. Charlie was an outstanding relief pitcher, he told us, at Fordham, and then we checked with his coach, and he didn't remember his name.
Last guy that happened to was the football coach at Notre Dame for 4 days. Wes Helms leading off the 5th. Sexson with a home run in the 4th is the only run. 1-2 now to Helms. So the Mets making another transaction before the game tonight. If you're just flipping on, Graham Lloyd traded by the Mets to Kansas City for a pitching prospect. And the other big story in baseball today was a double firing. The Cincinnati Reds dismissing both GM Jim Bowden and manager Bob Boone. And then they won the game today, with Ray Knight serving as the manager for a 1 day only. And there's strike 3. That's a good pitch by Jay So.
Jay So's been very impressive tonight.
number 12.
All right, here's the Mike's Hard Lemonade MSG Network sweepstakes. You have a chance to win a Mike's Hard Lemonade barbecue grill and a suite for 10 at a Major League Baseball game August 17th. Send a postcard with your full name, address, date, time, phone number, and date of birth to the address you see right there. Enter today. You're running out of time. We have about 10 days left to get in on that entry.
And that last pitch to Wes Helms, and it's Wes Helms should have complained. Now remember his first time up, he thought he was out, and he ended up walking. There, that was payback. Boy, So is really mixing up his pitches very well right now, similar to Glendon Rusch. One mistake was Richie Sexson.
This is a positive sign in what the Mets have been wanting to see from So. Pitch. 1-2. You got to throw the fastball, but pitch.
Yeah, hey, don't be afraid. You know, and everybody falls into this. You know, you're afraid to fail So you're just trying to, for example, a hitter just trying to put the bat on the ball instead of letting it fly. Same thing with pitching.
The other thing about So that we'll see Vance Wilson take this tip. Ooh, out the form. Boy, that's going to hurt because he got banged there about a week or 10 days ago.
Well, you know that goes with the occupation. That's an occupational hazard.
Wigginton gobbles that up, 2 down.
Boy, so far we have mentioned these pitchers are mixing up the pitches very well. They are staying away from the middle of the plate.
Number 10, Royce Clayton.
And both of them have been staying on both corners, changing speeds and getting good ball movement. Look at this. That pitch is over the middle of the plate. And Perez hits a ground ball to third base.
First ground out that So has gotten since Perez hit into a double play in the second.
I think pitching coaches today and pitchers talk more about and experiment more with grips on the baseball than ever before. That's why you see such great ball movement. Pretty good fastball.
Like 92 again. I mean, again, I can't help saying this is what the rest of the year is about for the Mets. To see a Jae-Young So turn things around after one just horrific inning last week in Montreal.
He's turned up the dial on Royce Clayton a couple times tonight.
This is Jae-Young So won a job with the Mets in spring training by throwing 90-mile-an-hour fastballs. He didn't do it with an 84. It wasn't enough.
You know, they weren't expecting anything from Jae So in spring training. He was probably more relaxed.
And Clayton got that ball, got too much to the plate. Clayton has a 2-out single.
So Royce Clayton, who's been around the major leagues for a while, takes his
number
pitch.
39,
Just talked
Glendon
about
Rusch.
he's not really throwing many balls over the heart of the plate now. 2 straight batters he has.
So Rusch, who wound up being a pretty tough out his last time up, he absolutely smoked a ball that was caught by Jae So. Gets a chance, and Bill Hahn just came back and told a fan to stop. How about that? A fan in the first row behind the plate, behind the screen, was getting on Bill Hahn, and Bill Hahn just came back and told one guy to stop. And you know what? I don't like that. If an umpire's hearing a fan, that's not good. And So didn't need to make that play, but it still looks good. Takes another ball away from Rusch. So we're halfway through it. Shea So has pitched well, fielded well. Well, tonight's quote brought to you by Tri-State Consumer Auto Insurance as we once again salute the Mets Hall of Fame voice. 42 years for Bob Murphy, who yesterday announced that this will be his final season. And it's wonderful. Anyone that's ever had the chance, what a thrill for someone like me that grew up listening to Murph to actually have a chance to work with him. You know how positive he is, and that quote reflects it, Fran.
Murph's a terrific guy. So many wonderful years, so many memories. He said this is very tough. It's sad because I know how much I'll miss it, and Mets fans will certainly miss Bob Murphy.
I just heard tonight before the game, as Raul Gonzalez checks his swing and is quickly 0-2. Well, that's 5 pitches to Gonzalez tonight, 5 strikes. It's a famous game back in 1990 when the Mets were playing at the Vet in Philadelphia. Had a big lead going to the 9th, almost blew it. Something like a 7-run or 8-run 9th inning.
Remember it well.
Line drive to the shortstop ended the game. And I will only do this to quote Murph because it was a fabulous moment. Murph calls the final out and said, and the Mets finally win the damn thing. and I finally heard that call. I'd never heard it before. It was played tonight on one of the local stations here. And it was great. It came right from Murph's heart.
It certainly did. And he's been a very popular broadcaster in the New York area for so many years, along with Ralph Kiner. By the way, Ralph will be with us Thursday. Kiner's Corner will follow the afternoon game here at Shea.
So now 3-2 to Gonzalez.
How can Ralph Kiner and Phil Rizzuto not be in the broadcaster's wing of the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown? 40 years.
Foul back. Well, The one issue I would say is they don't need it.
Well, they don't need it, but it would be nice.
Well, I understand, but it's also nice to let. If you're only inducting one a year, as they do, it's nice to put in people who aren't already there.
Well, that's a good point, but it'd be, they achieved quite a bit in broadcasting.
Absolutely.
So special dispensation.
I loved Bob Uecker's line yesterday. I mean, there's so many of them, Uecker, but
Number 3, Vance Wilson.
Gonzalez striking out for the second time. 4th strikeout for Rusch. Heat.
Threw that ball right by him. We were talking about these guys aren't hard throwers, but they're throwing the ball by major league hitters tonight.
And Vance fouls this ball out of play. How about Uecker yesterday saying, well, this is not sour grapes, but I really think I should have been in as a player. And brought the house down.
Bob Uecker told me the most important guy in his post-baseball career, Al Hurt.
The trumpeter.
Yeah, got him on a Tonight Show.
Ah, that's right. That's right. It was that's right. That when he first went on, made Carson laugh.
You know what? He appeared on Tonight Show over 50 times, and he said that the first time he was on, after he was done, he heard Johnny Carson say, "This guy really played baseball?"
Clayton from the hole throws out Vance Wilson. 2 down.
Bob Uecker's a very funny guy. And I was told by Don McMahon, a good defensive catcher who had some success swinging the bat. He told me he was intentionally walked in Los Angeles when he played with the Milwaukee BREWERS, and he told Tom Haller, who was catcher at the time, he said the commissioner is going to investigate this.
Here's Uecker. And it's for a guy like Bob Uecker, and that's for whom the Ford C. Frick Award, which is the honor given annually to a broadcaster in baseball, is meant for guys like that. And Murph got the same honor almost a decade ago, but Uecker's been doing it for over 30 years, and for the great baseball fans in the upper Midwest, I mean, that's the story. They've grown up listening to Bob Uecker's voice.
Mm-hmm. He is a character. Listened to him one day. We were driving from Milwaukee to Chicago. Howie Rose and I were going over to do a game in Chicago, and they said Bob Uecker stated that somebody brought some bologna into the booth today. He said they must be trying to tell us something.
1-1. And McEwing takes it low. 2 balls and a strike to Joe. Mets have had only 2 runners. McEwing walked in the 3rd. Cedeno singled in the 4th. Three and 1.
Well, this pitching has certainly quieted the ball players and the fans here at Shea.
Joe got a good rip at that fastball.
We've been talking about Joe McEwing ever since I guess he's been working on that leg kick. He's getting the leg down a lot quicker. He's trying not to kick it up as high. One thing that's extremely difficult is when you don't play every day to get any type of rhythm at the plate. You can do it defensively, and you need rhythm there also. But it's a little bit easier. But at the plate, you just don't feel comfortable.
Fouled away by Joe. He's got a new record going. Joe's never started this many games in a row at one position. He's done for the Mets at second base.
I mentioned managers love a guy like Joe McEwing, and we've heard Art Howe say it so many times. He'll play any position he puts him at. He'll come off the bench defensively late in the game. He'll pinch hit.
Pulled foul.
Take a look at our Delta Airlines upcoming schedule. And Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday right here against the Brewers. Then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the Cards will be in town. So that's our Delta Airlines upcoming schedule. If you can't make it out to the park tomorrow, catch all the action on MSG.
Cardinals will be here Friday. I've got to believe they'll have somebody new with them. McEwing with the new bat fouls it away. Thursday's the trade deadline, and I would imagine that the Cardinals have got to do something to help their pitching. When we saw them in late April, Fran, I thought that was the best position team in the league.
Yeah, they have a good ball club. I was just thinking, it's funny because around the trade deadline, you think of certain you know, your team's going out for players, but I guess it makes it easier to get a quality player today because some teams want to unload contracts. I was always skeptical when a trading deadline came around. If a player went from one team to another and it wasn't related to a contract, then you wonder about the quality of the player being traded away.
I think we've seen that this month.
Yes.
Jae-Young So fouls a pitch away.
Well, an example is Chicago White Sox felt they could take Robbie Alomar and they could make a run at it.
Well, I tell you, Alomar's hitting about checking this morning, it's about 315, I believe. They're not playing him a lot against lefties. As we saw with Alomar this year, Alomar could still hit right-hand pitching.
I felt that, you know, from the right side of the plate, like Joe McEwing with that leg kick, if you have a controlled leg kick and get it down quick enough so you can get something going through the hitting zone with the bat, I thought he'd be all right because all of a sudden he has struggled right-handed.
And Jae-Young So grounding out here, but at least McEwing reaching base for the second time with a walk that burned So here in the 5th inning. Mets will start at the top of the order in the 6th, looking for offense.
Well, now it's time to take a look at that Jeep game summary. Richie Sexson has his 29th home run. He hit it in the 4th inning. He hit it a ton into the bullpen in left field. Glendon Rusch and Jay So have been very impressive. Roger Cedeno with the only Mets hit. He could have 2. He was robbed his first time up. So that's our Jeep game summary. It's 1-0 Brewers on top of the Mets.
And for the Mets, the real story tonight, bigger picture story, is that Jae-Young So has figured something out.
Mix them up and pick up some velocity. Let it go. As Ted mentioned earlier, in Montreal, he had threw easy, then threw a lot harder, and Vern Rule has worked on him with his grip. What does that say? One of these days, we're going to shoot one of those signs. You know what it's going to say? Yeah, you forgot. Someday, one of those signs are going to say something you don't want to read.
There's a strike to Eric Young.
What did Bill Webb say?
Tell you, I never can make that. When Webby's at his funniest, I never can make it. Quite get it. 0-2. Well, Jae-Young So, the way he pitched for several starts, and then the first inning in Montreal last night, you were ready to say he's either got to go to the bullpen or back to AAA because he just couldn't pitch that way. Couldn't get anybody out. And suddenly, the one little jarring he got from Vern Rule and from Art Howe. And then the next day, as Podsednik waits on deck. In Montreal last Thursday, Art Howe and Vern Rule spent a long time before the game talking to Jay's interpreter so that he could fully explain what they wanted Jay to do. And the results clearly have been seen tonight.
Well, how about that for a change in baseball? Not only are you trying to impress the player with your knowledge, but you got to go through a third person, right?
Hey, get used to it.
Yeah,
it's only going to happen more. Up high to Young, 3-2. Young walked in the first, struck out in the third.
How do you argue with an umpire? I guess you always got those hand gestures. Ones that Bill Webb made famous around here.
Ooh, that hung up there, and it is a fair ball into the corner and out of play. Ground rule double for Eric Young.
How about Cliff Lloyd called it? He threw up his arms just like the third base umpire. Well, got Podsednik in his last at bat in the 4th inning. Jay So tries to set him up. He does. He gets him on the hands with the fastball, and he hits a fly ball to Raul Gonzalez in center field. So now we'll track him again and see how they handle Podsednik. Now watch Cliff Lloyd. He chases the ball and he says, "Let me help the umpire out."
Boom. Foul territory. Yep.
Oh, we didn't see his arms. He threw his arms up in the air like ground rule double. Look at this.
So the Brewers playing it for another run here. They want to give Rush a 2-run cushion. Podsednik with strike 1. He is struck out in the first inning, fly to center.
Watch this. Watch his arms. Yep. Ground rule double. So we do have an umpire in left field.
Ball hit on the foul side of the pole, which is what automatically deadened it. ball. Well, Podsednik, that's a good at-bat. Wait, he couldn't do it bunting, but he pulls a ground ball and gets Young to third.
Oh, we saw Jay So jam him his last time up. He got back in there again. Watch it. Podsednik takes it. No, he got the ball out over the plate. Podsednik pulled it. That was a great shot of him when he realized he has to pull the ball, and it's against how he hits. He would spray that ball the other way, but he wanted to move the runner to third base. That was a great shot of him getting that top hand over.
And they're all in the dugout. I mean, it's a lost art in baseball, that thing, that getting congratulated for making an out. But Podsednik there did it. The Brewers recognized it. So now with Jenkins batting, infield is in.
The day it's really going to make you feel good is when you go to arbitration and he can say, you know how many guys I got over?
That's why it's a lost art.
That's right. That's
exactly
right.
Because of arbitration. Well, Jeff Jenkins, before the game that I was talking about, the way this Brewers season has gone, and he's very positive. He thinks the team is playing much better baseball this year under Ned Yost. The record doesn't show it yet. And he said the biggest thing we need to do is score first. And when you look at the stats, he's right. The Brewers are the worst, actually second worst record in baseball when they fall behind. Well, they're playing pretty good baseball when they score first, as they have here tonight.
You know, the problem I've always found is when you're a losing ball club, only for so long does it help when you hear, hey, we played well tonight, but we didn't win. You got to get those victories to feel good about that ball club, to feel good about yourself. Same thing for a pitcher.
They tried, well, that was not the two-seamer rather. That looked like a straight fastball, but they tried to get inside of the left-hander.
Target inside, just misses inside. Once you move that glove, believe me, the umpire's going to 95% of the time call it a ball.
Oh, look at that. That's a nasty pitch. 3-2.
Yeah, and that was a 3-1 changeup. 79 miles per hour. Watch this. These home run hitters don't like that. They want that heater 3-1. That's a home run hitter's count.
Well, Jenkins can hit. Jenkins can strike out. That's what Jay Young-So's thinking right here. I need a strikeout. Fouled away. If you can get one somehow, then they'll just walk Sexson.
Yeah, we talked about it in the opening of the game, how Jeff Jenkins and Richie Sexson do strike out. As you look at there's a car that's hot.
Where'd you park tonight?
I hope that's not mine.
Lost the board. Came close. Just missed. So Jenkins walks, and now they probably are going to have to go with Sexson.
So Richie Sexson in his last at bat here are 3 pitches down low with 1. And he gives him a pitch that he can hit, and he drives it into the bullpen. So Richie Sexson, who reminds everybody of Dave Kingman, showed some Kingman-like power.
Take a look. If you don't think we're just pulling this out. Jim Gallagher has been in the bag, and the magic bag produces.
Look at this. Look at the Sexson on the left-hand side of the screen, and there's the follow-through. Now watch Dave Kingman. And look at that follow-through.
I'm telling you, it's uncanny.
Look at watch the feet, the front foot. You see the swing? I'm telling you, they look a lot alike at the plate. And if you roll that through, you'll see the front foot. There's his. Now watch Dave Kingman's. How about that? You can always tell somebody by their front foot. I just made that up. But
sounded good, though.
Yeah, it did. I was very interested in the way they finished up that swing.
Right, let's see if they pitch it all to Sexson here.
Well, you get a base open.
Still have a base open. Whoa, well, he hurt him. That may score 2 runners. Sexson just driving one to left center field. Jenkins going to get held up at third. Sexson to second. Eric Young scores, and the Brewers lead 2-0. And it is not too difficult to figure out the way the Milwaukee lineup is. There's those 2 guys, Jenkins and Sexson, are the ones that are going to hurt you, and Sexson has done it tonight to Jay Young-So.
They do it, and they do it with power. Sexson goes down and drives that ball into the gap in left center field. Cleveland Indians gave up on him. They gave up on Sean Casey, who we saw over the weekend.
Brian Giles.
Yeah, they gave up on those guys because they had to go out and get talent to build a winning club.
That's 4 pretty good players.
Yeah.
They all were Clevelanders.
Now Cleveland's rebuilding, but they had Sexson, Jeremy Burnitz, Sean Casey, Brian Giles. Some pretty good talent.
So the intentional walk now will go to Vanderwall with Wes Helms backing him up, and the Mets bullpen gets up for the first time with Edwin Almonte. So 2-0 Milwaukee. Sexson has driven in both runs, giving him 80 for the year. And Pepsi invites you to come to Shea Wednesday for the night game between these two teams. And there's free admission to the Pepsi picnic area for the first 1,000 fans with an empty Pepsi can or bottle. Wednesday night. 7-10 first pitch here. Al Leiter will be the Mets pitcher. Reminder, if you're coming tomorrow night, first pitch is going to be delayed a little bit, about 7:20 for first pitch, as the Mets honor Hall of Famer Gary Carter.
Should be a nice night here at Shea Stadium. Expecting some beautiful weather. And the kid will be in town.
Foul back by Helms, 1-1. So Wes Helms with an opportunity here to. And I guarantee you, there's nobody rooting more for Wes Helms right now than Glendon Rusch. This guy has had such a rough year. And he's sitting there thinking, give me some runs, big boy. I mean, he's got 2. He'd like 4 more.
And as you mentioned, Ted, he went back to the minor leagues this year.
If he hadn't, they may well have released him. What could this be? One. McEwing's got to hurry. Got it! Double play. And so pumps his fist.
Watch Joe McEwing. Nobody intimidates Joe McEwing at second base. Here's the throw. Watch the runner. 5-4-3.
So to the bottom of the 6th, and Glendon Rusch now working with a 2-0 lead for the Brewers. Reyes, Cedeno, Phillips.
He's pitched him tough tonight. There's another curveball for a strike, so it's 0-2 on 2 hooks.
Reyes flied to right, lined out the soft liner out to first base. The fastball in. Reyes fights it off.
In the first inning, his first at bat, he gets Reyes to chase a bad ball. And he pops it up to right field. He was way out in front and lunged. Second time up, he waited a little longer and he beat him. He brought the ball from the middle of the plate in. He hit a soft liner to Richie Sexson at first.
And he's got Jose reaching for that one. Shallow center, and Podsednik puts it away.
Yeah, Reyes right there was way out in front. So he's now 0 for 3 as Glendon Rusch is throwing the ball very well. And by the way, it's time for the Coors Light Silver Bullet 6th. Barbara Dreyer from Oakland Gardens, New York, is today's lucky fan. That means if the Mets hit a home run this inning, Barbara wins dinner for 2 at Moe's Caribbean. To enter, send a postcard with your name, address, date, time, phone number, and date of birth to the address on your screen. Watch. Excuse me, Ted.
Cedeno, who's had the best swing so far, but not there. And Glendon Rusch gets 2 quick outs.
Everybody's aggressive. The pitchers are aggressive. The hitters are aggressive. Too aggressive right here for Jose Reyes. He would like to wait a little bit longer. He chases a ball that's a foot off the plate. Look at Perez, the catcher. The target was off the plate. You know what that tells you? They're going to make him swing at balls that are out of the strike zone because he's very, very aggressive.
Especially at 0-2. And Phillips' first ball swinging. And he goes down. And Glendon Rusch is sending a lot of frustrated hitters back to the dugout. He has pitched a 1-hitter through 6.
Tuesday and Wednesday mean the Mets are on MSG. Tomorrow, the action heats up again at Shea as New York's young guns battle Richie Sexson and the Brewers. Mets, Brewers, tomorrow night at 7 on MSG. Mets Tuesdays and Wednesdays are presented by Blimpie.
In the morning, it's the WB11 Morning News.
Helpful. Wrapped at the surface. It's a pretty tricky storm. We'll keep you updated.
Entertaining.
R&B's top star is cleaned up at the Billboard Music Awards.
Informative.
Over to the Cross Island Parkway at Jamaica Avenue.
At night, it's all the news you can use on the WB11 News at 10. In the morning, the WB11 Morning News. At night, the WB11 News at 10. Look to the WB11 News morning and night. It's New York's news.
Our Fast Facts brought to you by Panasonic, ideas for life, and it focuses on the versatility of Jason Phillips.
How about that first graphic? 46 games at first base, 20 games catching up at the second graphic. First player in Mets history to play 20 or more games at each position in the same season. Only player to do this in 2002 and 2003. And you know what? He's more surprised than anybody.
I just think about Jason Phillips as we start the 7th with Eddie Perez bouncing on the first pitch. And just as we say that, Wigginton low throw. Short hops Phillips. Perez is on.
And an easy play, really, for Ty Wigginton. Sometimes you have just too much time. And he flipped the ball, and he bounced it, and Jason Phillips just couldn't come up with it. But it's an E on Ty Wigginton. He had a lot of time. He could have stopped, set himself, thrown that ball across the infield. In fact, he threw it in such a relaxed manner, he bounced it.
He might have outrun Eddie Perez to first base.
That's a good point.
So here's Clayton. Here's Phillips, who started the year actually with the Mets. Remember, he came up here at the beginning of the year because Mike Piazza had to serve a suspension, but spent most of the first 6 weeks in the minor leagues. Comes back when Piazza gets hurt in San Francisco. This is his 50th straight start tonight. He has been an Iron Man, and 40% of that has been catching. Fly ball out by Clayton. Perez holds. And then we'll bring up Rusch. I think, Fran, what the game's missing, somebody's got to do a Bert Campaneris or Cesar Tovar.
Every position.
Do the 9 innings in one, or 9 positions, I'm sorry, in one game.
Yeah, Bert Campaneris did it. Cesar Tovar did it.
I mean, Joe McEwing is the obvious guy. Look at this. They started Eddie Perez. How about that?
That's what they call the element of surprise. And how about the pitcher's hitting? You know what?
Surprise. That's a massive coronary. Are you kidding me? Eddie Perez was running on this pitch.
Look at this. Did he get a jump? Yeah, but it was a slow one.
Well, this time, Rusch squared, Wigginton charged, and so stepped off.
Even he didn't believe Perez was running.
Oh, look at that. Is that well done? Can Reyes steal it here? What a play! What a play by Reyes. I don't care who the runner is there. That is a terrific play.
Watch this. He goes in the hole and from the ear throws a bullet to first. Look at that stretch.
I mean, just the distance he went to get that ball, Fran, was astounding.
I still can't believe the way he gets something on that ball. Going toward, look at this, going towards left field, a short arm throw, and he gets Glendon Rusch. And I agree with you, Ted. I don't care who hit that ball.
And that ball was hit, and I immediately thought that was a base hit with Wigginton pulled in. Strike to Eric Young.
You always wonder why pitchers or guys that are supposed to bunt don't do that more often when there's a lot of action defensively. And you finally see somebody do it, and it looks like he gets a base hit, and Reyes takes a hit away from Glendon Rusch.
And the 100th pitch of the night by So is hit right back to the mound. And so Jae-Young So right now is on the short end of the score, but he has had a bounce back start tonight. 7 terrific innings. Rusch has simply been better.
It's a good ball game.
Thursday on MSG, New York Giants football is just around the corner. And MSG is the place to be for all the latest team news and previews. Hear from Collins, Shockey, Strahan, and the rest of Big Blue on the Giants Training Camp Report. Thursday night, only on MSG.
On MSG Network for a special night. Gary Carter night at Shea. It all gets going with Geico Mets on deck at 6:30, and then the Gary Carter night ceremonies will begin just around 7 o'clock. First pitch will be about 20 minutes past. Also, the game will be presented entirely in Spanish on Fox Sports Net tomorrow night. Mets Tuesday on MSG presented by Blimpie.
Well, Mets Monday on Fox Sports Net is flying by. Rush is in a rush, and so is So. So Glendon Rusch taking his warm-up tosses now will face Cliff Floyd, but boy, oh boy, are they throwing strikes. And it's, you know, well-pitched ball game. It's moving along. It's been well played defensively. We've seen some power. That's a surprise. The Brewers hit a home run. Richie Sexson hitting the ball in the bullpen.
Well, Glendon Rusch, victimized here last year on a one-hitter thrown by Sean Estes, is trying for his revenge tonight. He has one-hit the Mets for 6 innings. We'll get Floyd, Wigginton, and Gonzalez here in the 7th. Rusch has only thrown 76 pitches. He's walked 2, struck out 4. The only Met hit a leadoff single by Roger Cedeno in the 4th inning.
The umpires are holding it up so, you know, not only New York, but also Milwaukee can get their commercials in. These pitchers are not only pitching briskly, but they're warming up in a hurry.
And Cliff Floyd, the batter, as mentioned, Cliff hit a home run off Rusch in Milwaukee this year. He's had 2 career homers off him. On 1. But Rusch tonight is doing what other left-handers of his ilk have done many times. And there's a base hit. So a clean hit by Floyd. And that'll get Wigginton up as the tying run.
In both of his previous at-bats, Ty Wigginton has struggled with waiting on the ball. This is usually an indication you're struggling. Look at this, way out in front. You are struggling and you're just trying to put the ball in play. You're afraid to strike out. Again, way out in front. So what Ty Wigginton has to do right now, and it's a lot easier said than done, is he's got to wait as long as he can and be as quick as he can. But when you're struggling, nothing is comfortable in that batter's box.
Fouled away.
Pretty good swing right there, but I'll bet you Danny Kolb will talk to him about leading with that torso. He's leaning forward because he feels that he wants to make contact with the ball. Here's that first at bat. See now, he's way out in front. First off, his body is pulling off the ball, and he was way out in front in that first at bat. And I'm sure Danny Kolb has talked to him. Danny doing a good job with the Mets as the batting instructor. Usually they'll tell you if you're struggling on waiting on the ball, they'll tell you to try and hit the ball right back up the middle or the other way. When you're jumping at the ball, a lot of times you're thinking pull the ball.
That's pulled. Should be 2, maybe none. Nobody. Ooh. Cliff Floyd got there. And the Mets get a huge break on what could well have been a double play.
That was a good swing, by the way, by Ty Wigginton. Cliff Floyd beating the throw to second base. And we'll take a look and see if Cliff Floyd hurt his ankle sliding into second base. This ball is hit pretty hard, and Clayton is unable to come up with it. The throw to second base, Cliff Floyd slides in and over the bag. But that's the best swing Ty Wigginton has put on the ball tonight. Watch Floyd busted towards second base and gingerly slides in.
Now Gonzalez, and they'll let that bunt go foul.
Boy, Cliff is limping. He's running with a limp from second to third. Now he's walking with a limp.
Well, I'll tell you what, Cliff, coming out of the All-Star break, we weren't sure how much he was going to play. And he's playing, he had no days off. No days off. Played all 4 games in a row on the turf last week.
And he'll tell you when the game is on in the heat of battle, you kind of forget your injury and you can re-injure it. By the way, Wigginton got a hit.
So the Mets now looking for somebody toward the bottom of the lineup to contribute a big hit. Gonzalez, 2 rough at-bats against Rusch so far. 2-1. You don't usually, well, I shouldn't say usually, you don't often see a 6th place hitter bunt.
You know, it's funny. Here's a situation, 2-1. He's up in the count. They might take it off because Glendon Rusch is not throwing it hard. He's had great control. But he's a guy that Raul Gonzalez can drive the ball if he gets a pitch to hit.
Well, you're thinking like Art Howe. The flip side was Gonzalez's first 2 at-bats have been so off that you worry about whether he's got a chance to hit this guy.
Hitter's count, he missed a pitch. Pitch was up, not overpowering.
Now Leo Estrella gets up in the Brewers bullpen.
And I agree with you, Ted. It's unusual. You get your 6th hitter up there trying to bunt the ball, so you're giving him up.
to bring your 7 and 8 guys up. You just don't see that in this league very often. 3 and 2.
Well, here again is that hitter's count for Raul Gonzalez. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Glendon Rusch has to throw a strike, get a pitch, and let it fly. The hitting instructors will tell you it. Don't get cheated.
There's something else you don't see often. A sign delivered verbally to the second base runner. So Floyd and Wigginton aboard here with nobody out. And an action pitch coming. They're not going. And it is beyond Clayton. Base hit. They'll be loaded up. Well, that would have been fun. If the runners had been going, that was inches from a triple play.
Maybe unassisted, but it's inches, a game of inches. Raul Gonzalez lifts the ball into the outfield. Nice try by Clayton. But watch the runners. You got to move back when that ball's in the air. Go back to your base. You're usually tricked on a line drive. And that ball was a line drive, a soft liner, just out of the reach of Royce Clayton. So now Glendon Rusch has the bases loaded. And what's running through his mind? His struggles this year.
And I guarantee you what else is running through the mind of pitching coach Mike Maddox. And there's Mike and manager Ned Yost here. The Brewer bullpen is right now is a disaster. Is a shambles. Mike Dejan has been replaced as the closer. They're doing it much like Art Howe. They're going with the hot hand, mixing and matching. So there's no eagerness to take Rusch out. And Vance Wilson bats, bases loaded, nobody out. Now in Vance's time with the Mets, this has been the kind of situation where he shined as a hitter. A terrific, timely
and he's been struggling
but
lately.
Right now he's slumping.
Yeah.
Right. So let's see which side wins out.
One pitch, he's got to get it and drive it.
0-2.
That was a swing like I'm in a slump.
Floyd, Wigginton, and Gonzalez the runners. McEwing on deck. Ooh. A good pitch.
Yeah, that was a pretty good pitch right there.
I wonder if they'll try that again, Fran.
I would. You know, he's Vance Wilson's struggling. He's going to try to protect the plate. You're vulnerable inside, especially down low inside.
Yep, there they go. Went right back. I like that call by Milwaukee, though. I like the effort.
Yes, absolutely.
2-2.
So now you've gone inside twice. Does this miss? If it does, just by a little bit now, you can set him up with something outside. But he's so much. There it go again, outside. Now you got 3-2. Got to give him a heater. And you can't be looking location if you're the pitcher. You got to throw a strike.
Right, this is frustrating for Rusch because he's trying to hit a corner and he's close, but he, looks to us like he's missed with all 3 of those. Now it's a full count.
You know, we're talking about a guy who's been in a slump. When you're in a slump, nothing feels good at the plate. When you're swinging, what you're thinking about, making contact.
Which is funny, Franny, here you got a hitter and a pitcher who've both been in a slump.
Yeah, it's an interesting confrontation.
Pulled on the ground. There'll be 1 out. Vance beats it out and a run scores. So 2 slowly hit for the double play. Floyd is in with the first Met run.
Well, Vance Wilson put it in play, and he beat the throw to first base. So he gets an RBI, and the Mets need 1 to tie. The key there was put the ball in play. Stay away from the strikeout, and Vance Wilson did. A man who has been fighting a slump made sure he put the ball in play. Now it's up to this guy, Joe McEwing. He's got to try to keep that ball off the ground. You don't want to hit into a double play.
Right. Tony Clark will bat for So. 2 walks for McEwing tonight. Well, remember, it's been double plays that bailed Jay So out tonight. In the 2nd inning, Perez, and in the 6th inning, Helms hit into inning-ending double plays.
So Jay So looking on Glendon Rusch. If the one ball that you can get a hitter to hit on that ground is something off speed, if you can get him out in front, especially with that leg kick.
And Rusch has induced a lot of ground balls from the Met hitters tonight.
And you will get that when you're facing guys at the leg kick. If you can get them out in front, lunging at the ball, you get the ground ball. Jason Phillips looking on, and what Joe McEwing wants to do is put that ball in the air to the outfield, at the least.
Shallow left. That ball's going to fall for a hit that ties the game. So Joe McEwing delivers. Wigginton scores. It's 2-2.
It's a big hit, is right. Joe McEwing put the ball in play. You saw Vance Wilson put the ball in play. Joe McEwing did the same thing. When you hit it, you got a chance of getting the base hit. If you swing and miss, it's a strikeout. You just walk back to the bench. But McEwing, clutch hit. It's all tied. Take a look at the runners. Vance Wilson getting a jump off first base. That ball was in front of him. Ty Wigginton scores easily, and you can't let the Brewers up right now.
Well, Glendon Rusch, just, you can imagine what's going through him. The second batter of this inning, Wigginton hit a ball that could well have been a double play. The Brewers didn't turn it. The Mets have capitalized.
It was scored a hit. And again, Wigginton put the ball in play, and he put the ball in play with some mustard on it. His first 2 at-bats, we showed you, Wigginton was way out in front. In a crucial at-bat, he had a good swing on the ball. And they scored a run because he reached first base. He scored the tying run.
Rush's 100th pitch here. Clark fouls it away. Clark has been a much better average hitter from the right side. He's 288 this year to 191 left-handed. It does have more home runs from the left side per at-bat. Cliff Floyd, give him some credit. There's a good pitch for strike 2. It's Cliff Floyd that hustled to beat the play at second base on Wigginton's ball that Clayton bobbled. And that's really what's made this inning possible.
Yeah, he busted it with the bad leg. And Wigginton reached first. Floyd reached second. And, oh, ouch!
And Clark gets hit on a 1-2 pitch. That, I got to believe, is going to do it for Rusch.
It'll do it for Rusch, although he's gotten Jose Reyes out tonight. He's had Jose Reyes all fouled up with his timing. No timing here, except I got to get my foot out of the way. So they're going to the bullpen, and the rookie shortstop will get a chance to open up this ball game. Jose Reyes is due up.
And he'll bat with the bases loaded, only 1 out.
Left side of the plate.
And Glendon Rusch's hopes of getting that second win disappear. The Mets have scored 2, still batting in the 7th.
Well, we've been tracking Jose Reyes, the 20-year-old shortstop, and all of his at-bats, and Glendon Rusch got him out in front last time up, and he hits the ball softly to center field. So now he finds himself in a situation where the nervous system has been activated, and how he handles that anxiety is going to be very important.
Here's the finish line on Glendon Rusch tonight from OTB, and it was a one-hitter going to the 7th. Ends up being no win and possibly a loss.
And you know when you're struggling what could happen in the course of a ball game, and the Mets have come back. Australia's numbers right there. And he's going to pitch to Reyes with the bases loaded. So an exciting time for the young shortstop. He can break this ball game open.
And Reyes swinging right away. This is a Dominican battle. Reyes, 20-year-old. Estrella's 28 from the Dominican Republic, and had only pitched in 2 major league games before this year.
But the Brewers tonight, Ted, as we were talking earlier, have made Jose Reyes use his aggressiveness, yes, chasing balls off the plate. But you can't mess around with the bases loaded now.
Yeah, that's exactly what the Brewers need. Home to first. No, Reyes beat it. And it's speed again for Reyes. A frustrating at bat, but at the very least, he will give Cedeno a shot.
We saw him do this in Philadelphia, stay out of a double play situation twice, and he ended up scoring a run. And how about that? Back to the pitcher, to the catcher. They still couldn't get him. As Reyes got down the baseline and beat the throw. Oh, that's speed, huh?
So now Cedeno, bases loaded, 2 outs. Estrella was signed by the Brewers over the winter as a minor league free agent and then opened the year at AAA. And now he's getting a chance to actually save some games. He has 3 saves for the Brewers. Hit the corner, 0-2.
Well, it's a whole different story when you have to drive in runs. As you see, Roger Cedeno way out in front and on his heels. And that's why they pay the RBI guys some pretty good money. It's just a different mindset. Your nervous system acts differently. Now watch Roger Cedeno, BP, batting from the left side of the plate. And he strides into the ball. He's on the balls of his feet. And then you see him in a ball game as you look at the runners, and you see him at times on his heels, pulling off the ball.
Roger lays off. 2-2.
What is it, the parasympathetic division of the autonomic nervous system that is activated, or is it the sympathetic division? One or the other.
I don't know, Norm Crosby, you tell me. That's way over my head. Too many syllables. 2-2. And Cedeno fights it off.
Roger pulling off that ball, but he didn't pull off that one yesterday. He took it with him when he did pull off it. Ball's in the middle of the plate in, and Roger Cedeno went deep. Mets need him right here to deliver first game of 4 against these Brewers.
Jason Phillips with that next. If he does, the Mets will have the lead. And Cedeno hits that to right. He hit that well. Vanderwall is back at the wall. And Cedeno, for a moment, thought big fly. And instead, for Jae-Young So and for Glendon Rusch, it becomes a good workout. No decision either way. So we're going to the 8th at Shea, and it's all tied up now. The Mets got 2, had an opportunity to break that tie, but Leo Estrella came out of the bullpen to close the door, and now Mike Stanton from the Met bullpen. Mets are short a veteran lefty with Graham Lloyd having been traded tonight. And Stanton will start off against Podsednik. For Stanton's last outing was a terrific one. Saved a win for Al Leiter in the Mets.
Podsednik, by the way, we have been tracking his at-bats all night long. And we go back to the 6th inning, and the Brewers center fielder pulled that ball when he had to pull the ball. Nice play by Joe McEwing. Podsednik pretty much giving himself up and moving the runner from 2nd to 3rd. A great shot of him just trying to muscle that ball to the right side.
Podsednik is 0 for 3 tonight as Weathers now loosens up for the Mets. Podsednik's done a nice job hitting lefties. He's hitting .258 against them. .314 against righties. Jenkins another left-hander, and then Sexson. So be interesting to see how Art Howe plays this inning. We know he's getting Weathers ready for Sexson. 2-2. Jaime Cerda called up by the Mets to take Graham Lloyd's spot. Cerda was supposed to arrive in the early innings of the game. Hit pretty well to left field. Floyd's got to go back on this, go way back, but he's got room. And there's one down.
He exhales as he made that grab. I thought that ball might travel a little bit further because he hit that ball very well the other way. But Cliff Floyd was able to track it down, bad knees and all.
Jenkins robbed of a hit by McEwing in the first inning, then flied to center and walked. And a ball inside. Remember how good Javier Vasquez looked against the Mets last week? Braves have 8 runs on him tonight.
You know, it's amazing to me. His record certainly isn't indicative of his stuff.
1-1. I mean, as good as he looked beating the Mets, I mean, it just tells you to me how well the Braves are playing.
How about the Marlins winning again tonight?
And they're ahead in the 8th inning against Arizona. Right back to Stanton. So Mike Stanton does a good job getting the first 2 guys out. And I'll tell you what's interesting to me is you see if
don't pitch them.
They just walk Sexson.
Sure. I wouldn't pitch them. You can pitch around them.
And you run the risk of a pinch hitter. The Brewers have Brady Clark, who's been on a tear right now, available to bat for Vanderwall.
Well,
but that's still better, I think, than letting Sexson beat you.
That's right. And he's going to look at, they're going to walk him. Yep. How about that? Nobody on.
Oh, I like
they're going to walk him. Good move by Art Howe. He's got a home run. He's got a double. He's got a couple of big blows in this game. He's got 79 RBIs, 28 home runs. And you know what? Take your chances with somebody else. Ned Yost looking on. You rarely see this.
How about this, Fran? This is Sexson. I mean, Sexson's one of the best home run hitters in the National League. This is only the 4th intentional walk he's been given this year.
And how about with nobody on base? I like it.
To me, it's the move again. I mean, I'll take my chances against Brady Clark.
This is what he did earlier in the ball game. Richie Sexson going deep into the bullpen, and then he doubled to left center field. So why take a chance with him? He's in the groove. He's relaxed at the plate. He has nothing to lose. One swing of the bat, he gives the Brewers the lead. So walk him. Now, you put the go-ahead run on first base, but as Frank Robinson once said, I don't care about that go-ahead run until he touches home. So, gutsy move by Art Howe to walk Richie Sexson, and as Ted mentioned, Brady Clark will be the batter.
I just can't believe, I mean, that you think about, wow, now look at this. So Brady Clark is announced as the pinch hitter for Vanderwall, and now Art Howe is going to say, all right, I want Weathers in the game to face him. Okay. So the wheel's turning. Mike Stanton does his job, gets 2 left-handers out. And it's Weathers to try to finish the top of the 8th.
Well, tonight on Fox Sports Net, after the postgame, catch the most outrageous combo of sports news and entertainment on TV. It's the best damn sports show, period. That's tonight after the game on Fox Sports Net.
So here's David Weathers, the workhorse in the Met bullpen. 54th game.
Pitcher, number 27.
Managers love a guy like this. Give him the ball. He never says, I can't. Well, right now, he'll pitch to Brady Clark. Brady Clark is a .292 average, 2 home runs, 25 RBIs, but has had success against right-handed pitching.
Yeah, Clark, who spent last September with the Mets, has had 161 at-bats with the Brewers, and right now is red hot. Clark's hitting .413 in July, and he's also hitting 100 points better against right-hand pitching, and he's facing a guy who's had an incredible struggle with the first batter. Weathers, to his credit, has been able to pitch through that trouble. A check swing pop-up, and that is a dream. Pinch hitter's nightmare.
How about that? Walk Richie Sexson with the score tied in the 8th. Get the next hitter, and now it's up to the offense.
Hey kids, don't miss Mets Hot Wheels Day on Sunday, August 3rd, when the Mets battle the St. Louis Cardinals. play, win the innings all game long for your chance to win a Jeff Gordon Signature Edition Chevy Monte Carlo SS and other great Mets prizes from MasterCard and Chevrolet. For your tickets, call 718-507-TIXX or log on to Mets.com.
Our fans of the game brought to you by McDonald's. We'd love to see you smile in this crowd on this makeup night tonight. Still lots of youngsters enjoying their summer. And it's been a nice night at the ballpark. The humidity's cleared out.
It's a nice night. The weather's terrific. Tomorrow night, Gary Carter night here at Shea Stadium. And they're expecting great weather again tomorrow night as you see Brady Clark in right field. So come on out to Shea, watch the Mets take on the Brewers, second game of this 4-game series.
Phillips to right field, so it puts Brady Clark to work right away. And Jason Phillips, an 0 for 4 night. So it'll bring up Cliff Floyd.
By the way, if you can't make it out to the ballpark tomorrow, catch all the action on MSG.
And a nice array of people who were memorable during Gary Carter's years here will be on hand. Of course, Keith Hernandez will be here, Howard Johnson, Tim Tuffle, Rusty Staub.
Davey Johnson.
And Davey Johnson's coming back as well. Floyd takes the ball inside.
There's the kid, Gary Carter. Thought he should have been in the Hall of Fame a few years ago.
Tapper, boy, Estrella doing a nice job calming things down out of that Brewer bullpen. So 2 quick Mets put away in the 8th, and it'll be Ty Wigginton.
Well, we talked about Ty Wigginton, his first 2 at-bats. He was way out in front. In his last at-bat, he put a good swing on the ball and picked up a base hit. Kind of generous scoring on that base hit, but a base hit. Maybe relax him a little bit more.
All right, here's my question for you. Next year, Molitor.
I'll tell you what, his numbers, he belongs in with his numbers. And you know what? I vote for him.
A strike to Wigginton.
Tell you,
I have to check what year Eckersley becomes available.
I think it's next year.
Is it next year?
I think so.
And to me, Molitor and Eckersley are absolute no-brainer first ballot.
I'll tell you, we did a show in this month, Halls of Fame. Ron Santo definitely belongs in. Got a show coming out next month on Andre Dawson. Dave Winfield with injuries.
Fouled away. So it's 1-2 to Wigginton. Well, Molitor will be the first real test of the DH because, of course, the DH saved his career. But Molitor was just a gifted, exceptional ball player.
3,000 hits. I believe the only guy to get 3,000, his 3,000th hit was a triple. And when you think of Molitor, you think of a guy who got extra base hits.
I'm going to tell you, those great Brewer years, Robin Yount won some MVPs. Molitor was the best player. He was the best player on those teams.
And he played defense too.
And before his injuries, right? Swing and a miss. Boy, nice job by Leo Estrella. He's taking opportunity to heart out of the Brewer bullpen. So we'll go to the 9th at Shea. 2-2.
The biggest stars are on the best damn sports show, period. Please welcome Samuel after the game on Fox Sports Net.
Hey, New York. The Mets season's in full swing, so to help satisfy your hunger for up-to-the-minute game info, watch Geico Mets on Deck, a half hour before each game on Fox Sports Net. The latest updates, interviews, stats, and game analysis. Fox Sports Net delivers in-depth coverage of the Amazings, so you're as ready for the game as the athletes themselves. Gear up for all the action with Geico Mets on Deck, 30 minutes before the game on Fox Sports Net.
Top of the 9th at Shea. First of 4 between the Mets and the Brewers, and David Weathers will try to keep it tied for the Mets. Facing Wes Helms, Eddie Perez, and Royce Clayton. Helms had a huge at-bat against Jae-Young So, 6th inning. Bases loaded, 1 out. That liner right to McEwing. It was 2-0 Brewers. One more hit might have been a a death knell for the Mets tonight, and Helms hit into an inning-ending double play.
And right there, he hit a ball right on the nose. What a feeling that is. You hit the ball hard. All of a sudden, that nervous system makes you feel terrific, and then you realize it's right at him.
Now Perez, who's 0 for 3.
Look at Perez was ducking under the ball. It was over the middle of the plate.
Of course, Eddie Perez made his first name as Greg Maddox's first catcher in Atlanta. So he's got to be at least somewhat at home to have Mike Maddox as the pitching coach with the Brewers.
Now, if he can only find somebody that can win as many games as Greg Maddox, he's going to feel more comfortable.
Well, Jaime Cerda made it. And he's now getting ready in the pen. Out of play, 2-2. Mets trading Graham Lloyd before the game as the Brewer pen. Dan Kolb in the foreground. In the background is the deposed closer, Mike Dejan.
That's not good.
Generally, you know, deposed is a term you use with leaders, right? The deposed monarch of Romania.
Manager.
Deposed manager. Royalty, the same thing, right?
Royalty.
Good battle going on here. And Perez lays off, so it's a full count. Now back. Well, David Weathers is one of those guys who's waiting out these last couple of days.
Well, I bet a lot of teams would like to have him because he can eat up a lot of productive innings. And right now he's got to throw a strike to Perez. If he hits it out, you tip your hat. But you got to challenge him. He's got 9 home runs this year. He's batting .290 with 38 RBIs. But don't let him reach base. If you do, you're going to see a pinch runner.
Ooh, well, he did. Perez draws a walk.
He did, and you will. Here's Perez taking that pitch that's off the plate, I should say. Outside off the plate. Targets inside. Wow, you know what? When catchers move to the corners and they take an umpire, see this? You take the umpire with you. Here's his view. That's the best view. So when that ball's out over here and it hits the corner of the plate, you won't get that call a lot of times because you've taken the umpire with you inside. And now you're reaching across your body when there's a lot of activity by the catcher. A lot of times the umpire assumes it's a ball.
So Royce Clayton, the batter, 1 for 3 tonight. And Weathers, wow. Hahn turned to his right, looked like he was going to call a strike and said ball, and that gets the Met dugout chirping. John Franco is in the Met bullpen. Enrique Cruz is the pinch runner for Perez. Nice bunt. Weathers walk out of play. So Royce Clayton surprising the Mets there with a bunt. Weathers couldn't feel it. Now the Brewers have 2 on with 1 out.
And sometimes when you go after a ball, you're assuming you've got it and you look up. You take your eye off the ball for a moment. And when you do that with the bare hand and you take your eye off the ball, you're really taking a chance. Take a look at it again. Weathers going over and just couldn't get the handle.
And Vance Wilson was right. I mean, he was heads up. That's head down. But Vance Wilson was heads up. As soon as he saw Weathers fumble that ball, Wilson immediately got Jose Reyes' attention and said, go cover third. With Wigginton coming in, third base was alone. And Wilson really heads up on that.
A lot of times the catcher's got to bust down there. Instead, he's yelling it. That's it. If the third baseman fields that ball, the catcher's got to go down at third baseline. The pitcher covers home. Until the third baseman gets loose, when he releases the ball, he gets the pitcher out of the play at home plate.
So 2 on. I'm not sure how they scored that ball. Should be an error. There's a strike to Keith Ginter, the pinch hitter. They gave him a hit on that. Wow.
So
that is really generous.
Bunt base
Really
hit.
generous scoring tonight.
Joe Donnelly, the official scorer tonight.
So 2 on, 1 out, and Keith Ginter pinch hitting here. Ginter, a former Houston product. He's got 2 pinch hit home runs this season. Eric Young behind him. Well, the one weapon that David Weathers has is the ability to throw a ground ball, and he needs one here. Although Ginter does have a high strikeout total this season. Foul away. Ginter 183 at-bats and 48 strikeouts.
You know what that means? He might struggle with that breaking ball a little. To get in the major leagues and to stay in the major leagues, you have to have a quick bat to hit that fastball. Might as well test him with the breaking ball.
Got a tapper. There's one. McEwing. That's an out, though, and Joe's able to recover the ball, and Cruz cannot take a chance on coming home. Don't know if the Mets were going to be able to double up Ginter on that or not. But the key there when McEwing lost the ball was he didn't lose the runner at third.
Well, you get at that quick transfer. Ball wasn't hit that hard. And Joe McEwing with the quick transfer just lost the handle. But you see the runners now getting good jumps off those bases. And Royce Clayton sliding to second base on the transfer. McEwing drops the ball, but comes up with it. And now the Mets will take on Eric Young with runners on the corners. Eric Young with 28 RBI, so he goes from a table setter now to a man who has to deliver a run.
But look at that. You see that number in the bottom of the screen there with Young? It's bizarre. He's got 13 home runs this year and 28 runs batted in. 17
doubles.
I mean,
well, 13 home runs, 20. When
I'm saying he's got. Yeah. We're in almost to August here. I mean, he hadn't driven in very many runs and doing anything other than hitting homers.
Funny, as we were talking, as you look at John Franco, we were talking before how, you know, the nervous system does funny things to you when you're in a spot where you're going to drive in a run as opposed to just getting on base.
There's a lot of history. These two guys have been around a long time. Eric Young has had 22 at-bats against Weathers and 6 hits. But he has struggled in this spot. Takes a ball, 1-1. So Enrique Cruz pinch running is the lead run at third. And Ginter now the runner at first. Two and 1. Podsednik on deck. Mets hope not to see him. Vern Rule wants to see Weathers get Young. Get out of this right here. Here's a good, boy, that's a good location. 2-2.
Well, David Weathers needs that money pitch, and right there he gets it on Eric Young. So 2-2, 2 outs, runners on the corners. And Ted mentioned those 28 RBIs with 13 home runs. Figure with 13 home runs, you'd have a whole lot more RBIs. He does have 17 doubles, but his forte or fort is 64 runs scored.
Outside, full count. Ginter, the runner at first, will be in motion. Phillips, why time was called before that pitch. Time was called before that pitch by the first base umpire.
Well, they caught a break because that ball's a foot off the plate.
The Mets were trying. What the Mets are trying to do is get Phillips to move behind the runner. Art Howe was signaling from the dugout. And Tim Timmons, the first base umpire, did call time, and no one else heard it. So another 3-2 on the way. And that is high. So Weathers has walked 2 men in the inning.
You'll see John Franco now.
And with the left-handed batting Podsednik coming up, that will be an issue. Let's see which way Art Howe goes.
Well, John Franco's ready. Podsednik is ready. So it'll be a battle, I believe, of left-handers. They're looking at the lineup card.
Well, of course, and I'm sure they want to see what right-handed bats Ned Yost would have available. But it is going to be John Franco. So David Weathers came in to get a big out in the 8th inning, but has walked 2 men here in the 9th and could not field a bunt. So they're loaded up, 2 outs. And the Met captain will be coming in to try to keep the Mets tied in the 9th inning. On MSG tonight at 10, Sports Desk presented by Toyota with Kurt Menefee and John Giannone. They'll have the Knicks tooting their new Keith Van Horn. Bob Clappish will be in studio, and of course all the baseball from around the major leagues tonight on Sports Desk. And at 10:30, Al Trautwig along with an all-new Angles presented by Bex, and Keith Van Horn will be the guest tonight. That's all coming up starting at 10 on MSG.
Number 20.
So different kind of save situation here for John Franco.
And John Franco, if he can hold them, he can get himself a victory. See the 23 hits he's given up this year.
Yeah, it's the one concern that's really run throughout the Met pitching staff. Just too many runners. And you can see that with John. John's had 30 base runners against him in 17 innings. Well, he's got to try to get Podsednik here. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Podsednik 0 for 4. Faced Stanton, a lefty in the 8th inning, and hit a ball to the left field corner pretty well, caught by Floyd. And Franco in with a strike. Of course, what's interesting about this, Frank, is for years other managers have always tried to put left-hand batters up who they feel can hit well, left-hand batters against Franco, to take the changeup away.
Yeah, and right there, that was a hittable pitch for the young center fielder Podsednik.
1-1.
You know, it's funny. I know managers used to do that, but I don't really think it was necessary, because throw the changeup to a left-hander.
Well, if a guy like Franco proves he'll do that, right?
And the changeup to a left-hander is a very effective pitch.
Hit back through the middle, base hit. That'll score Cruz, and coming in behind him, Ginter. Throw to third is in time there. Eric Young is out, but the Brewers get 2 runs. So the move backfires, and the Brewers get 2 runs on the base hit by Scott Podsednik in the 9th inning. And Milwaukee will take a 4-2 lead to the bottom of the 9th.
You're my new nanny?
On August 15th.
Get a broom.
Be brave.
I quit! Swinging door.
Be honest.
You're scared.
That's kind of harsh.
It's a harsh world.
And always.
I have to stand on my own 2 feet.
A pair of disappointed veteran pitchers. David Weathers walked 2 men in the inning and could not handle a bunt. John Franco gave up the single to Podsednik that scored 2, and now the Mets, with Keith Osick taking over behind the plate, face a rookie right-hander, Dan Kolb, trying to earn his 3rd big league save. Mike Dejan had been the closer for the Brewers for about 1.5 years and lost his job not long ago. So Dan Kolb, who's just turned 23 from Florida, was not even on the 40-man roster for the Brewers, played A-ball last year.
Saw Jeff Duncan out there. He was a late scratch. He was under the weather before the ball game and must feel pretty good right now.
So Duncan going to hit for Vance Wilson. Meanwhile, this rookie Dan Kolb trying to gather himself. Gets a strike into Gonzalez. Not what you want to do in a hitter.
That was, questionable. It should have been called the ball, and right now, you wonder, will they make him take one more time?
Kolb 19 innings in the big leagues, has walked 9. And threw that one right down the pipe, fouled away, and it's 3-2.
He'll give him the same type pitch now. He's got a 2-run lead. He doesn't want anybody on first base.
That dribbler, look at that, hug the line and then trickle foul.
It looked like he was letting it go back into fair territory. He ran by
He waited
it.
too long. Kolb did, yeah.
This will give you a heart attack.
Well, here's the base hit, Podsednik.
Podsednik hits his ball right back up the middle. It was a high fastball to Podsednik and a big hit to drive in 2. They get Young at third base, but you see the runner scoring easily, and Podsednik delivers in a key spot for the Brewers. Young draws the throw.
All 3 pitches in that at-bat were up that Franco threw to Podsednik.
And usually John Franco eats up the young players with pitches down and out of the strike zone.
Fouled away.
Well, how about that foul ball a moment ago? The big guy jumped over the ball.
Well, the Mets are going to need some help here on offense. They've not generated much lately, and they're at the bottom of the order here, trying to get something going in the 9th against a rookie. And Gonzalez just got eaten up by that fastball there and thrown out by Clayton. So 1 away.
Well, they tell you got to bust it when you're scoring a run. Let's see. Does he score in a lot of time, or is it in the nick of time as this man gets thrown out at third?
Nope, easy. Ginter did his job.
But you know, it's you got to run hard all the way. They threw Young out at third base.
So Jeff Duncan pinch hits for Wilson. McEwing behind him. Mets want him to get on to keep the game going. Might well give Timo Perez an at-bat. There's McEwing. If one of these 2 get on. Well, Ned Yost is doing with his team, Fran, a lot of what Art Howe's been doing with the Mets lately. He's finding out. He's throwing young guys out in these situations, Estrella and Kolb, and he's finding out about them just like Art Howe is doing with Duncan.
Well, you know what? You even hear Met fans say, bring up the kids, and that's what the Mets have done. They want to find out about the players at the major league level. They're getting an opportunity to play. Duncan has impressed. Of course, Reyes has been very impressive. But you hear the cry from Met fans all over town, bring up the kids.
Got him. Fastball, boy, look at that. 96 in. So 2 down. The Mets on the Joe McEwing to get on base.
How about this? You come off the bench, you haven't felt well all night. You got to try to get the head of the bat on a pitch around your letters, and it's 96 miles an hour. You'd have to take a chance with this guy. 96 miles an hour. You tell him, here's the ball. Go out there and throw it as hard as you can for 1 inning.
Now a ball to McEwing, and of course this is, you see a kid like Kolb, and you learn that's why the Mets have made some of these trades they made, because the Mets don't have arms like this in their system, and they're making trades now to try to bring in some arms.
And the Mets for years have been known for hard throwers when you face the Mets ball club. So now they're going to try to go out and get some hard throwers. Al Leiter the other night in his victory threw the ball very hard. As you look at Jose Reyes.
One and 2 to McEwing. The Mets had their offensive chance tonight in the 5th inning. They got 2 runs and they had the bases loaded with 1 out. But Jose Reyes bounced out, and then Cedeno fly to the wall in right field. And McEwing taps 1. Helms hustles, plays it, got him on a close play, and that puts an end to it. So the Brewers take the first game of this series at Shea. A 2-out, 2-run single in the ninth by Scott Podsednik gives Milwaukee the victory 4-2, and a big night for Richie Sexson as well. A home run and a double drove in the other 2 Milwaukee runs. So at Shea, the Brewers take the first of 4. They've now won all 3 games these teams have played at Shea this year. Tomorrow night, we hope you'll join us on MSG. Geico Mets on deck at 6:30. And at 7 o'clock, it's Gary Carter night. You'll see the ceremonies right here on MSG preceding the Brewer-Met game, presented by Blimpie on Fox Sports Net. We invite you to stay tuned. Coming up next, we'll have a full recap of the action here at Shea. The Mets fall 4-2 to the Brewers. Now for Fran, Healy, and Matt Loughlin and our entire crew at Shea. I'm Ted Robinson. We'll see you here in just a moment.